Welcome back to Houston Life and happy Halloween. The National Museum of Funeral History right here in Houston is home to the country's largest collection of funeral service artifacts and features I guess you would call it quite a unique experience for guests, right?
I absolutely would call that a unique experience, from permanent exhibits to authentic items that have been used in the funerals of U.S. presidents. I mean, they have so much interesting things, so many interesting memorabilia here. Lauren Kelly is giving us a peek inside the industry that cares for the dead. Lauren, so fascinating.
Yes, you got it, Tessa. That's exactly right. And speaking of memorabilia, the Wizard of Oz. Check this out. I've got some amazing facts on the guy that is the coroner in the movie. Genevieve, CEO, president here at the museum. You've been here for quite some time. I don't want to take your line, but you put the fun in funeral.
Yes, actually October is probably our most popular month here. It's crazy. Everyone's like, oh, the funeral museum, it's Halloween, it's the goblins, it's the ghosts, it's the spirits of the dead that we kind of celebrate. And so that's why we're so popular. And I think a lot of people get a little bit more curious of their death, their morbid curiosities in the month of October, because we kind of celebrate it, make fun with it and stuff. So yeah, why not?
It's the spooky season, right?
Yes,
so
exactly.
First of all, I want to address why the Wizard of Oz. Why are you dressed up as a Wizard of Oz, and what is this behind us?
Well, this actually is a tribute to Meinhard Robbie, who was the coroner in the Wizard of Oz movie, and he also was the gentleman who helped promote Oscar Mayer Wiener in the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile that still goes around city to city today.
I had absolutely no idea. What a great tribute. And I know we talked about it just before. I mentioned that you guys have hearse upon hearse upon hearse,
yes,
among many other things. But I want you to come in here and take a look at this extensive amount of hearse that you have.
Yes.
Like, dating back to what year?
Our oldest hearse in our collection is from the 1800s. It's a horse-drawn, of course.
Oh my God.
And it's quite petite in its stature, and a lot of people try to, they're really curious as why is everything so small back in those days, because we were smaller people. They just don't realize that until they actually look at the history of the items we had to use in caring for the dead.
It's crazy. I want you to just kind of pan this way, because we showed you just a few of the hearses, but you probably have them from every decade thereon, right?
Yes, we do. And our youngest hearse in our collection is the hearse that carried both the bodies of two of our presidents, President Ronald Reagan and President Gerald R. Ford, during one of their funeral processions.
Just so fascinating. And just a little bit more about the museum. Are you guys open year-round?
We are open year-round except for some of the holidays.
Okay.
So always encourage everyone to check our website to check our holiday hours and closures, but we are open 7 days a week.
Okay. Aside from caskets and coffins, what else can people come in and see?
Oh, they can go to International Hall and see different customs and traditions from around the world, which is so fascinating. Of course, you know what's coming up, the Dia de los Muertos, which is the Day of the Dead in November. So really, that's an amazing Latin American historical tradition that people celebrate their ancestors. And they also kind of tend to celebrate the fact that they get to live another year.
Absolutely.
So the La Catrina, you know, she's the one that is comes for you in your death. And you can learn more about that and all the celebrations that they do in our exhibit, the Dia de los Muertos.
Yes. Okay, you've got plenty of permanent exhibits, but coming up next, we're going to check out an embalming exhibit, which I've always wanted to know about. Maybe I'll just look at it from afar. I don't want to know too much about it just yet, but we've got that coming up in just a bit for you guys. Derek and Tessa, back to you.
Lauren, you always find the gems. I mean, such an incredible experience. Yeah, go find the embalming exhibit. We'll be here because we need to learn all we can about this.
We do. Thanks, LK.
Of course, ahead of time.
Yes.
Ahead of time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, still to come, too. Now, the National Museum of Funeral History is filled with science, history, and culture, and over 30,000 square feet of exhibit space.
By the way, I did not realize this place existed, I'm embarrassed to say, but from caskets to coffins, historical hearses, the museum is the country's largest collection of funeral service artifacts. Lauren Kelly is giving us a look inside this afternoon. Lauren, okay, so the embalming, how did that all go? Did you learn a lot?
You guys have no idea what I've learned so far. I have had so many facts thrown at me. I'm gonna need the entire day to actually soak it all in. Genevieve, you've been here for almost 18 years. The embalming process started with the mummy, right?
Yes, actually the Egyptians are our first recorded embalmers in history.
And what did they use?
Actually, back then they used lye to help bring out the moisture in the body because they're in the desert, so they need to bring the moisture out. Otherwise, the body will naturally mummify itself if discarded within the desert. And you know those little scarabs, those little bugs that you might have seen in that movie, The Mummy, that just kind of, came across the whole screen?
I know those. Yeah.
So those are the vacuum cleaners of the desert, right? So they go around and keep the desert clean, and so they serve a purpose.
Okay,
really
all right. So from the mummification process to this guy right up here,
yes, Anubis is the Egyptian god of embalming.
Okay.
He is the one that was perfecting the technique of embalming and taking out the organs to basically preserve them in the different jars. And then we went from the mummification process of caring for our dead and preserving the bodies to the actual embalming, internal embalming
inside the body,
using our normal circulatory system, our veins and our arteries. And that actually was done by Dr. Thomas Holmes, who is our father of American embalming, which came about during the Civil War. And that was so that we could preserve the bodies of our fallen soldiers and try to get them home to their families for proper closure. And today you will walk into this embalming lab that maybe 1940s, 50s time period.
It looks a little dated, yes.
It's dated, but not too many things change. Maybe some of the equipment's been updated, but believe it or not, we still use the same surgical tools. If you see over here, the same surgical tools that we've been using for many, many years.
What are some of those tools that
we
you
have
right
an
there?
arterial injector there that helps to put the fluid into the artery.
Okay.
We have a trocar that helps us withdraw the fluid from the abdominal cavity. And so it can be a little grotesque for some people, so I won't get into too much detail, but I think it's always important for them to understand that what we're doing is disinfecting the body and we're trying to preserve the body. So if family members need to come from afar for the viewing and the funeral of their loved one, the embalming process helps to preserve them.
That makes sense. Well, Genevieve, thank you for sharing this incredible museum with us today and all of your amazing facts. It's just incredible and fascinating what you can come and learn here. And if they want more details, I'm going to put them up at HoustonLife.tv. But October, definitely the best month to come in and check this out. Derek and Tessa, how amazing is this?
It is so cool. I'm going to come check it out. Bring a friend.
You need to go.
Also, about embalming, the fact that your body will embalm itself, I have so many questions still.
Follow-up
Piqued my
questions.
interest.
Get back over here.
Thank you so much. Cheers. Happy Halloween.